Hey, how you doing? I know it's been a while, but it's lovely to be back. So today I want to go through how you can best open up your chances of getting funding for a short film. Right now in the UK, it's the BFI Network Short Film Fund is opening up, so every filmmaker in the country is trying to figure out how do I get that funding. Back in 2023, I was lucky enough to receive that funding, and now coming to the end of that project, we're beginning to almost finish post-production. So a 2-year process, right? So number one, secure your producing partnership a year in advance, not a day in advance. What I mean is at this time of year, what a producer gets is loads and loads and loads of emails from directors saying, hey, can you help me with this pitch? Can we work on this together? Let's go get this film fund. So you're coming in with a cold ask for someone who doesn't really know you. Then you have to think, why is a producer gonna join you on your project when they don't know who you are, they don't really know much about you or your work? And if your email comes across like you think a producer's job is just about money, or you haven't actually put any time into looking into their work, it's not a very appealing offer for a producer. For me and my producer, we'd met years before and we'd worked on one project before. So when the fund opened up, even then I was nervous to ask her because I didn't want to feel like another one of those directors. But forming that relationship over a year, over 2 years, 3 years, it meant that that time when it came, it was the right time to go for it. And actually, when you get to an interview stage of, at least with the BFI, they ask a lot of questions about that relationship between producer and director. They want to see that you've worked together for a long time. You have to remember, you're asking someone to go on maybe a 2-year journey with you. And trust me, you are working together a hell of a lot. So if you don't get on with that person, it's not going to be enjoyable for either of you. And what that means right now is maybe you need to think about applying next year rather than this year, but using this time to find those producers who are maybe interested in it and building a rapport, building relationships so you can get that opportunity and get everything ready for that time. I've actually written an article that you can read, link below, that covers how to approach a producer in a bit more detail. So if that's you right now, maybe go have a read of that before you start approaching producers. So the second thing is to write a banging story, but one that focuses more on the characters rather than the plot. I think will get you further. Often with the film fund, they're wanting to develop that story with you. They're wanting to enrich in the characters and make sure the plot gets to where it needs to be. But what they need to have from the start is an interesting world where your main character and all the other characters around them have something interesting going on. So they have their challenges, their nuance, they're different. They're not characters we've seen 100 times before on screen. Film funds care about character. That's what we're interested in. And a good plot comes about because we're throwing the right obstacles at the right character. Your character should actually lead into your plot. So write an amazing script, but even if you get that funding, it's probably going to change a bit anyway. So make sure at the least you have a very strong character. Third tip is to nail your pitch deck, but importantly, leave nothing behind. I think it's a terrible mistake when anyone pitches something, does a pitch deck, and they don't include the ending. I mean, you're asking people to invest in your film, they need to know how it ends. That's the most important part. So don't leave anything off the table because you are thinking, well, I want to intrigue them. You want to make sure that in your pitch deck, to people that might fund your film, they know the beginning, middle, and end very clearly. And within that pitch deck, they learn all about you, all about the world, all about your approach. And that pitch deck needs to look and feel professional. Creating a pitch deck is actually super simple. You can create them in Keynote or PowerPoint. I prefer to use Canva. I'm actually building some pitch deck templates at the minute, which I'll launch sometime in the future. But there's plenty of templates on Canva you can use. Just have a look and make sure you're including the key things, which would be an introduction to yourself, the approach, the story, synopsis, the characters, and maybe the actors you're thinking of for those roles. Anything different about your production that you want to draw attention to, and importantly, the distribution plan. Even with a short film, what is your goal? Like, where are you going to put that? How are you going to get eyes on it? That is crucial, whether you're pitching for short film or TV series or feature films. It's all about the pipeline going all the way through to people going to watch it on the other end. Hey. Number 4 is to have a mission bigger than the film. For us, for Greengrass, if you're following it, and actually there is a full behind the scenes series coming in the spring, summer, which I'm very excited about. It's been a lot of work. This is one of the reasons I've not really been around the last year or two on YouTube. Our goal was to improve inclusivity and diversity, especially within deaf representation on crews as well as cast. Your goal might be completely different. but you should have a goal that is bigger than the film. It doesn't have to be tied to a cause or community. It might be down to an area. You want to bring attention to where you are making your film, the people making that film. Try and find a mission though that is bigger than just the film. Something that works as like a way to showcase not only are you going to make something really creative, but you're trying to make a good impact as well. Number 5 is to give yourself time to get through the application process. There's always a secret page that you're not expecting. You go through it all, you think, okay, I can draft all my answers, and then you're putting it in the night before, and suddenly there's a second page that you didn't know was there. We had that, we experienced that, and it did cause a bit of a last minute panic. We also had some login troubles on the last night. So my advice is start early, get it in early. And that means you've got time to craft your answers properly, which kind of leads into like point 5.5, which is understand everything they're asking for, especially if it's to do with sustainability or diversity. In the BFI Film Fund, you have to be answering questions about that, and you have to have a plan about how you're going to tackle those things on a film set. Good practice anyway, we should all be doing it, looking at schemes like Albert's to figure out how we can make films more sustainably, a greener industry. The final thing is to just do it, just get it done, get it in there, don't let the fear get in your way. I know we can all be scared of a rejection. Rejections come. I mean, I've been rejected loads of times for loads of film funds, for loads of jobs and all sorts. You have to hit enough rejections that you can learn from every single one. Eventually, you get there. A rejection is not a bad thing if you can learn from it. It's very easy to take a rejection as an emotional thing. I get it. I totally understand it. But put a time cap on it. Give yourself a day, maybe a week to feel deflated about a rejection, and then stop and learn why. You can ask, you can say, okay, why was it rejected? Or if whoever you're applying doesn't give feedback, maybe send it to someone else who might know and see what they say. There's a scheme called BAFTA Connect, which is for emerging filmmakers in the country. I've been rejected 3 times from them. In 2023, I found out I was rejected from BAFTA Connect a day after I found out I'd got the BFI fund. So these things happen all the time, and one rejection doesn't define your whole career. So don't be afraid of them, embrace them. I'll leave it at that, but nice to see you again, and I will see you soon. Big love.